When a country starts burning from the inside, the world usually looks at the fire. But geopolitics is never about the fire. It's about what shifts once the smoke clears. Right now, Iran is facing what historians may one day call the avalanche. What began on December 28, 2025, as a strike by electronics merchants in Tehran has, in just 2 weeks, engulfed all 31 provinces. Most headlines describe this as a domestic uprising. People in the streets are driven by years of frustration, a collapsing currency, and the memory of those who fell in 2022. But if you only look at the streets, you're missing the machinery that built this moment. At first glance, the domestic explanation feels complete. But geopolitically, Iran is never just a domestic story. To understand why the streets are burning, you have to understand the economic guillotine. In late 2025, the UN's snapback mechanism was triggered, restoring the full sanctions framework. For the first time in years, the global community officially reimposed the full weight of international sanctions. This wasn't just another layer of paperwork. It amounted to a near-total severance of the Iranian state from the global heart of trade. Under the U.S. Maximum Pressure 2.0 campaign, oil exports, the lifeblood of the regime, have been driven toward near-zero levels. Reports indicate the U.S. recently intercepted the Bella One, a key vessel in the Shadow Fleet that moved oil between Iran and Venezuela. With the fall of Maduro in Venezuela earlier this month, Iran lost its last major partner in the Sanction Bypass Alliance. The result? By multiple economic estimates, inflation is approaching 60%, and the rial has fallen to around 1.4 million to the dollar. When a father in Mashhad or a shopkeeper in Tabriz can no longer buy bread or medicine, the social contract doesn't just bend, it snaps. Sanctions are often framed as a diplomatic tool. In reality, they are a form of structural warfare. They turn the hunger of a population into a strategic leverage point. This is where the geopolitics quietly begins. Iran is not simply a nation reacting to internal problems. It is a central pillar of power across the Middle East. But look at the regional map now. The axis of resistance is reeling. In December 2024, the Assad regime in Syria, Iran's oldest ally, collapsed. Hezbollah's leadership has been hollowed out by a year of precision strikes. And in June 2025, a 12-day direct military exchange with Israel and the U.S. severely degraded Iran's air defense systems. When a powerful regional actor is consumed by internal unrest, their ability to project power declines. Its rivals, namely the U.S. and Israel, gain breathing room. From a strategic perspective, a distracted Iran is a reduced Iran. This is an uncomfortable reality. Instability doesn't need to be created to be useful. It only needs to exist. Iranian authorities claim they have arrested individuals accused of spying for Israeli and U.S. intelligence services. They frame these protests not as a cry for help, but as a foreign-backed sabotage. These claims serve a dual purpose. First, because espionage is real. Every major power monitors its adversaries during moments of weakness. Second, it justifies the crackdown. On January 10th, the regime officially labeled protesters as terrorists under national security provisions, allowing the IRGC ground forces to deploy live ammunition in cities like Kermanshah. Since January 8th, the country has been under a near-total internet blackout. But the digital dark age of 2026 is different. With Starlink terminals reportedly smuggled across the borders, the regime no longer has a monopoly on the narrative. Footage is still leaking. The world is still watching. Both realities can exist at the same time. This ambiguity is exactly where power operates. As of mid-January, reports suggest the U.S. administration is being briefed on multiple response scenarios. Not because it caused the unrest, but because moments like this rarely stay contained.